Illustrative Math, Geometry, Unit 1, Lesson 13 is called Incorporating Rotations. So our goals today are I can describe a rotation of a figure, and I can rotate a figure using a compass, protractor, and or graph paper. All right, so our warm-up here, people use flags to signal messages with the semaphore alphabet. The semaphore alphabet is a way to use flags to signal messages. Here's how to signal the letters Z and J for each. For each, precisely describe a rotation that would take the left-hand flag to the right hand. So when I look here at the left-hand flag, this left-hand flag rotates to the right-hand flag like that. Now this is my point of rotation, so we're going to rotate. I would just say here, rotate L, I would say probably 45 degrees clockwise. Now, if I labeled this point here as P, I'd say around point P. So point P will be my fixed point, okay? So also you can think of it kind of like if there was a circle here, you can think of this point right here, this point is going to rotate around the circle, okay? So then my new flag is right there, okay? Now this one, we're going to go that way. So this one, I would say rotate flag L 90 degrees counterclockwise. And this will be my fixed point. I'll call that P again. Around point P. Okay. So rotations. What you're starting to notice here is you need a direction, you need an angle measure, and you need a point that you're rotating around. Okay, so here's kind of what I was showing you earlier with that circle here. So, if this is my starting point here, I can move this thing around the circle. If I want to go 120 degrees counterclockwise, it'd be somewhere right around there. So there it would be. If I wanted to go 90 degrees clockwise, it would rotate right there. So this would be my new flag. Right there. So as you see this here, I can kind of swing it right there. 90 degrees clockwise, 180 clockwise, 270, and then back to the same spot is 360. Okay. But the key is my center of rotation would be C here. So I'm going to write this down here. So those are the three things you need for a rotation. You need a center of rotation, a direction, and an angle. So in this case, it's C, but in some other picture, it might not be C. All right, so when we have a 90-degree grid, we're pretty used to that. So let me draw some stuff here. So let's say this is my center. I'm going to call it C. And let's say this is my point right here, P. So it's real easy to do rotations on a 90-degree grid because we know that this is 90, 180, 270, back to 360, or you can go the other direction as well. On a 60-degree grid, again, your full circle here is still 360. So a full circle is still 360, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 angles instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 around the center. So, here 360 divided by 4 is 90 per square. Whereas over here, 360 divided by 6 is 60 per square. So, if I started here, if I want to rotate 120, there you go. All right, so just if you see these grids, understand that these are each 60 degrees each. All right, so our sentence frame for rotations. We need to rotate a figure, clockwise or counterclockwise, and then we need an angle or an angle measure, a round point. So the point is your center. So here's an example here. Rotate triangle ABC 90 degrees counterclockwise around point P. So basically this point A goes around this circle here. And if you look here, let's do a circle. Let's put another circle up here. We'll go through C. If you notice point C on here, there's my point C. It's going to rotate along this circle to right there. And if you look here, this from C to C prime forms a 90-degree angle. And same thing right here for B. I'd have to put a new circle up here. So from P to B, you notice that, oops, this point rotates along the circle 90 degrees. And if I take some lines here to show you the angle, let's go from B to P, P to B. You see it's a 90-degree angle. Okay, maybe change the color here. Let's do another one. Let's do C to P to C prime. You see it's a 90-degree angle. And then same thing with A and A prime. Okay, so use a compass and protractor to rotate A, B, C, D 120 degrees counterclockwise. I guess I should have labeled these here as A, B, C, and D. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 120 degrees, and then I'm going to use my compass to swing each point around. Okay, so I'm going to need to basically, let's start with A. I'm going to go right there, going to take my protractor and measure 120 degrees. So 120 would be right there. I'm going to make that angle. So this is the angle here. Oops, hold on, sorry. For A. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to take my compass. And I'm going to need to swing that point until I get... Oh, you know what? I went counterclockwise. Darn it. I'm going to have to redo that angle. Move this out of the way here. So that's like taking this point all the way around here. So there's the first one. Let me move this out of the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing that point right around here until I get on that line. So this point right here, A, swing it around until I get right there. So there's my A prime. Okay, now I do B. So maybe use a different color here. So I'm going to go from there to there, B to the center, and I'm going to measure my 120. And then I'm just going to swing that point around till I get to that green line. And I'll mark it right here, B prime. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing with C, maybe use a different color here. Maybe go with red so it doesn't get too confusing. There's my 120. Swing that right there, maybe close it just a little bit. Whoops. Let me move this out of here. There we go. So right there where I hit that red circle, is my C prime. And then I got to do the last one with D. Maybe use, I don't know, maybe what color am I used? Orange. So D to there. Let's measure that angle. And there it is, right there where it intersects. So here's my new figure, rotated. All right, you can kind of see it. Looks kind of crazy, but if you picture this thing swinging around till you get here, maybe if I highlight that in or color it in a little bit, you might be able to see it a little bit better. There's my new figure. Okay, so you picture everything just swinging around there. So I use my protractor to measure the angles, and then I use my compass to swing all the points. Okay, that keeps them the same distance from your center of rotation right there. Okay. Another thing that's kind of bad, I just was talking about having a center of rotation, and I guess I never really labeled this point here. So maybe I should be a little more specific, and I'd say around point P. How about that? And if I label this point right here as P, that would be a little bit more helpful. All right, so rotate A, B, C, D 90 degrees clockwise around point Q. So clockwise would be this way. Okay, so you're going that way. So A, B, C, D right here, 90 degrees clockwise around Q. So clockwise, so this A is going to go right here to A prime. This is going to go down here. So I actually didn't leave myself enough graph paper, but here's another trick you can do here. If 90 degrees, if this is 1/3 for my slope from Q to B, it's going to be perpendicular. It's going to be -3/1. You're going to change the sign and flip it. So I'm going to go down 3/1. It's going to be somewhere down here is my B prime. This to get to C, it looks like I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from Q to C right there, if the slope of this is 4/5, a perpendicular line is going to have a slope of negative 5/4. So I can go down 5/4. So it's going to be like somewhere down here. And again, this was not a very good job of leaving the grid up here, but there's your C prime somewhere down here, down 5/4. That'll make it perpendicular. D is rise 1, 2, 3, 4, run 2. So this right here has a slope of 4/2, which equals 2. So my next slope is going to be negative 1/2. So I go down 1/2, but I got to do it twice. So here's my D prime. So if you look here, this looks like a 90 degree from D prime to D right there. So it's going to be something like this. And again, mine came off the grid, so it's not perfect, but you can kind of see it rotating 90 degrees, okay? And how do you know it's 90 degrees? You got to take 2 points, like here's my A prime, that forms a 90. Here's my D prime, that forms a 90. Here's my C to my center of rotation. Here's my C prime, that forms 90. Okay. Rotate ABCD 180 degrees around R. So 180 is actually pretty easy because you don't really need to measure angles because 180 degrees is a straight line. So what's really nice about the 180 ones is you could just draw a bunch of lines through your center of rotation, and then you could take your compass and swing it over here. Okay, so if I wanted to do the D, 180 degrees. Notice they didn't put a direction because 180 is the same in either direction here. But if I take a look here at this point D here, okay, you can kind of see I can swing it either way, but right there where it hits the line, there's my D prime, okay? And then A would be really easy because here's my straight line. 180 would just swing around right here. So there's my A prime. Same with B in a straight line. So I'd have to go, I'm 3 away here. So I'm going to go 3 over here. So here's my, let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm 4 away. Hold on. That's the wrong one. So from R, I'd have to go 3 more over here. So again, I didn't leave myself enough graph paper here, but here's my B prime, somewhere like that. And then Q, I'm sorry, not Q, C, I would draw my line here. A little off. And again, I'd draw my compass and I'd swing C all the way out there, and it'd be somewhere over here off my chart. So sorry about that one. Didn't leave myself enough space, but you get the idea. So this one, 120 degrees, this is going to help with what we were talking about. These are 60 degrees here. So 120 degrees clockwise. So this direction, 120 degrees. So, if I wanted to rotate M, 120 degrees. So this is, now this one's not going to be perfect, but N and K line up on the line. So that'll be 60 degree. So 120 will be, let's do one of those first because those will be a little bit easier because they line up on the line. So N and K. I know this is 120 because 60 plus 60. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. If I had more graph paper, I'd be able to see that K would go right there. Or I could, I guess, use my protractor here to swing it over. So there's my K, swing it over. And I was a little off because, again, I didn't have graph paper there, but there it is. Let's do the same thing here with my N. Swing that by. Here's my N prime. Let's do my other points here, my J and my K. These ones I might have to use a protractor on. Let me get rid of these to just kind of clean this up a little bit. So here's my J. I'm going to measure 120 degrees. So let's see here. Here's 90, 120 would be right about there. There's my angle. And I have to adjust my protractor to measure that distance, and I swing it right there. So there's my J prime. Much easier to do these on paper than on this program. But you see how you do it. I'm not going to do the whole thing because this has already started to take too long. But you see how it is. You measure the angle, you draw lines, and then you use your compass to swing the point. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this one here. Translate, rotate, reflect. Mia suspects triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. She thinks these steps will work to show there is a rigid transformation from ABC to DEF. Translate by directed line segment V. Rotate the image blank degrees counterclockwise around point D. So looks like it's 120 degrees to go from this side to that side. So I would fill in 120 right there. And here's my point D. Now, the only thing is my program won't let me pick a point to pivot. It'll just rotate it in the center. So pretend I was rotating it there. Okay. Well, that's not going to work because it did not line up there. So let me go back. I'll go back here. So 120 degrees counterclockwise. So if I go 120 degrees clockwise, it'll work. So I need to go 240. Let me change that to 240. I'm sorry, no, I was right actually. 120 is right. I just went the wrong way now that I think about it. Clockwise is this way. So basically I'm getting a whole segment to line up. Get that out of there. Right there. And then if I reflect over DE, then I get my new triangle right there. Okay. So there it goes. So there's that one. I guess I maybe should have left that one here when I translated it. So here's my translate. then I rotate, and then I reflect across that line right there. Okay, so that's usually the order we want to do these. We want to translate, rotate, reflect. All right, draw or act out using your arms as paper flags, a few transformations. Rotate 135 degrees clockwise, so 135 degrees clockwise. So I'm rotating L to R right there. Reflect over vertical line. So here's my vertical line right here in the middle. Okay. Translate to the left, then rotate 45 degrees clockwise. So they were probably starting out right here, and then it translated left, and then rotated 45 degrees clockwise, like that. Okay. Describe a sequence of reflections, rotations, and translations that take A, B, C, D onto A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Okay, so usually it's translate, rotate, reflect. So let's do this. Ready? Translate A, B, C, D by directed line segment B, B prime. Okay, so that'll get B and B prime lined up. So it'll look like that. And then rotate. Rotate the image 120 degrees clockwise, centered at B prime until side aligns with B prime, C prime. So that'll rotate it like this. Now my center has to move though, but picture it staying fixed at B prime. And then I'm going to reflect over line B prime, C prime. So if I reflect over this line right here, B prime, C prime, it'll give me right there. Okay. All right, that's it for this lesson. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and we'll see you next time.